Hello and welcome to Red Wolf Roundtable. I'm Jacob Cater alongside my good friend and colleague, Mr. Caton Marsh. And you might be wondering, who are these fellas on your TV right now? Because they're not Tristan and Cooper. Where are the new fellas on cast today? Caton, I'm excited for this year. I'm really excited for this year to see what all we can cover. I know we've got some really big shoes to fill, but we were talking to Mr. Tristan Harlan earlier, and we think we're up to the challenge.
Yeah, first off, we wanted to say we appreciate Tristan and Cooper for taking them under their wing. I apologize. And man, we're here. I'm super excited. I'm overjoyed. The A-State sports last year was a huge success, especially with volleyball, football, basketball. We have a lot to cover. Super excited, and I'm ready to get into it.
Absolutely. We're going to actually start off by just going over some of the things we're going to cover today. Women's soccer. Women's soccer has been, playing so far this season. Volleyball coming up as well. They've got a big game this weekend against Mizzou. And then finally, we're going to end it with football. Football, big season coming up. Big game coming up. We've got a lot to talk about here on Red Wolf Roundtable. First, I want to kind of take a moment to just familiarize our audience with us. Of course, I'm Jacob Cater from Quitman, Arkansas, and I'm a senior here at Arkansas State, creative media productions major. I'm excited to be here, Kate.
Me too. My name is Caton Marsh. I'm also a senior, and I am from Austin, Arkansas. And yeah, that's all really about me.
All right. Well, we will be back after this break to talk about the last week in Arkansas State sports. Stay tuned.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
When you say experience counts, it's experience that counts for a lifetime.
Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it. Quitting was never an option. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it.
And we are back here on Red Wolf Roundtable. Going to take a brief overview of some of the sports that went on last week. Kennedy Horn for A-State women's soccer, 3 goals in 4 games. Kennedy Horn has really been doing a phenomenal job there for the A-State women's soccer team. 7 goals in 4 games last year. 7 goals in 4 games this year so far for the A-State women's soccer team. Last year they had 13 total goals in the season. So we're on a much better trajectory for this women's soccer team. I'm kind of excited to see a little bit of how they play this season. I haven't gotten to go to a game yet. I do plan to. Caden, your thoughts?
So offensively, the women's soccer team is a lot better than they were last year. Like Jacob was saying, 13 goals in like the 16-game season that they have wasn't ideal, especially for them. But as we go now, they have 7 goals in 4 games, 3 of which Kennedy has. She's been electric. And offensively, they're going 1.75 goals per game. But one thing to note with that is defensively, they're also having a harder time. They're allowing 1.75 goals per game, but the offensive makes up for it. They're 1-1-2 this season. Their first loss was last week to Oklahoma State, in which they lost 3-2. But they showed good offense in the second half, and that's kind of where I lead into this, is where their offense is struggling in the first half. They've had to come back multiple times, from the first half, leading or going down multiple scores. Stephen F. Austin, they were down 2-0 at half, but then ended up coming back and tied the game happily 2-2. And then Oklahoma State down 2-0 in the first half, ended up losing 3-2, but they scored those 2 goals in the second half. Hopefully they pick up offensively in the first half. I think that's the key, but great improvements since last season. Really excited to see what this team does, and record-wise, doing good so far.
Yeah. Now we're going to move on to volleyball. The defending Sun Belt Conference champions are volleyball Lady Red Wolves. So far, 1-2 this season. They've got a big game coming up, big series coming up, 2 games against Mizzou here at home, an SEC school who is nationally ranked. Of course, I said they are 1-2. Their losses are to pretty big schools, Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. And then they've got a defeat of Wofford on their record. I mean, I've seen this team play. They played last year, phenomenal team last year. I haven't gotten to see them play this year. Again, going to see that because it's probably worth watching. Defending Sun Belt champs. Caton, I mean, I'm excited for this season in sports in general, but the volleyball team really makes me a little giddy. So
they look good. Unfortunately, the record doesn't show it, 1-2. But like you were saying, they lost to Ole Miss, which was a close game. It was 3-2. They went into overtime, as the score says, 3-2. And then Georgia Tech, the 3-1, unfortunate, but they made it close. Every single set was within 5 points of each other. The first set, they won 27-25. The second set, they were leading by a lot. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech came back and beat that. And then the third set, they did the same thing. So offensively, I really don't think there's any problems. You still have Caitlin Whitlock and Adriana Kale. They're both superstars. They both played great this weekend. I'm not really worried. They held their own against the number 22 ranked opponent in the nation, and they're playing against Mizzou. Is it a worry? I don't think so. I think they can do it. We saw it this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, A-State women's volleyball keeping up with the big dogs for sure. Or like you said, they've played Ole Miss. They played Ole Miss close. They beat Ole Miss last year. And then Georgia Tech, again, played a pretty valiant effort of a game there. And then, of course, another big dog in Mizzou coming up this weekend. Interesting to know that one of those games is going to be played at Valley View High School. I just think that's really interesting. Now, kind of an overview of really what the big standout event of this past week is football. A-State's game victory against SEMO, Southeastern Missouri State. Tell me what you saw in that, Caden.
Man, I've been so excited to talk about this. I was so hyped up to get on here and talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Rayner. The guy was amazing. 26 for 32, 325 passing yards.
45. 345,
3
yeah.
passing touchdowns. He looked amazing. We're talking about an NFL-level talent showcase right there, a Heisman showcase right there. Jalen Rayner, 345 yards and an 81.3% completion percentage. And one thing I wanted to stress when we talked about his completion percentage is 3 of his drops, in all reality, I think they were drop passes by the receivers. They were great passes. He made some amazing plays, some that I thought the play was over. He extended it. I can't get enough of how well Jalen Rayner played. And going into an SEC opponent, what we saw from him against the SEMO team, granted, SEMO, not the biggest opponent, but seeing what we saw, it was amazing nonetheless. Huge win, huge way to go forward, especially with Jalen Rayner.
Exactly. And like you said, the victory was over SEMO, Southeastern Missouri State, 42-24. Ohio Valley Conference, they are an FCS school. Rayner, 26 for 32. That's an 81% pass completion rate. He had the highest pass completion rate in the conference this past week, higher than the offensive player of the week. Also, that would be Appalachian State's quarterback, who did not have near that on his pass completion rate, just let you know. Of course, 345 yards. But let's talk about this tandem of Kenyon Clay and Jaquez Cross. All right, I've got some stats here. Clay had 15 carries for 41 yards. Cross had 8 carries for 36 yards. They were using Clay for the short yardage. Jaquez Cross has some great targets in this game. We saw his run game, to me, is what really stood out. Cross's run game was phenomenal this past week. And then we got to talk about Corey Rucker. Corey Rucker is the current receiving leader in all of college football with 3,148 yards, career receiving leader. He only got, I think, 2 or 3 targets?
Yeah, it was a pretty slow game, especially in the first half for Corey. He had 1 target in the first half, and it was an end zone shot, which beautiful pass by Rayner, by the way. It was phenomenal. But, yeah, it was slow first half for Rucker, but our other guys picked up for him. We got Chauncey Cobb. He played well. You got Hunter Summers, who played really well. I think with how well they spaced out the ball with the run game and the pass game, even if Rucker isn't showing up in certain areas, maybe in that first half, someone else can pick up for him. And what you were talking about earlier with the run game, Kenyon Clay, he looked good. There were his moments where he couldn't get it going. Cross looked amazing. That was one of the things that we talked about, especially last year. Towards the beginning of the year, they didn't really effectively run the ball. And now we have 3 running backs that can come in at any point and really change the game. Cross, a dual threat with the run game and the pass game. You have Clay for the short yards, and then Spencer can be your home run threat, who had that 40-yard rushing touchdown. So you're seeing it now. Jaquez Cross, 13 total touches for 69 yards, 2 touchdowns, and averaged 4.5 yards per carry. You can't really say enough about him. I don't think he got the ball as much as I wanted him to, but Butch knows what he's doing, and we'll see it more throughout the season. I think Cross will get it going more and hopefully get more touches as the season goes.
Lots of love for my man Jaquez Cross. Let's talk about something that I think really stood out. Like you said, Rayner did phenomenal. NFL-type talent there. He couldn't have got it done without his offensive line. His offensive line, I think, held it very well in this game against SEMO. But there's one thing that I think stood out in specifically the first quarter of the ball game and probably the last quarter of the ball game, and it was the A-State defense. When you're having an FCS school run on you to get 3 or 4 yards every single carry and converting multiple times on 4th down, well, let's talk about that a little bit, because I think, next week we play Arkansas. Arkansas is not an FCS school. In case you didn't know, they're the SEC. They're in the SEC. That's a Power 4 conference. We're going to have our hands full if we keep letting them, run 2 or 3 yards every play up the side, or throw a little slant pass and get through 2 or 3 yards out of that too. They're going to have a hard time keeping the Hogs from converting if we play defense like we did in the first quarter of this last ball game.
So obviously we'll talk about the Arkansas game coming up here soon. But yeah, that's one of the things that we noticed was the defense wasn't spectacular in any standpoint. SEMO was really slow, especially down 32. You would have thought that they would have picked it up. But they were throwing a lot of flat routes, a lot of screen routes, and they were having a lot of success in the run game, especially with their bigger back. And it is worrisome, that's for sure, because of how good the run game was for them. Fortunately, the offense was really good for us, so it didn't really matter in the long run. But we're talking about an FCS school that didn't stretch the field, didn't show any type of miraculous plays, and when they did, it didn't really go through. There was a lot of drop passes, mistimed throws, and we got away with quite a bit. I will say that, and it's kind of unfortunate. I hope to see the defense pick it up. We did generate some pressure through Nigel Nelson, the freshman. Great player, by the way. We got a couple sacks through Cody Sigler and Drew Collins and some other guys that made impacts. But, yeah, I do think it is a little cause for concern going into this week. Hopefully they can pick it up, especially defensively. And I think we can give them a run for our money, but hopefully we'll talk about that soon more.
We will. We'll talk about that after this break. Stay tuned here on Red Wolf Roundtable. We're going to give you a preview of the games coming up this week on A-State campus.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
Back here on Red Wolf Roundtable, talking about some of the games we have coming up for the Arkansas State Red Wolves. Of course, we've already touched on volleyball a little bit, a big matchup between the Red Wolves and the SEC Mizzou Tigers. They will play one game here at First National Bank Arena, and then they will play one game at Valley View High School, which I think is interesting, but it's because we have a concert going on here on campus. But, you know, a little bit of community engagement going on there with that game, too. I think it's probably good for the community to get out there. You know, we talked about it, SEC power. This team is nationally ranked. You know, I like to hear your thoughts on what do you think we could do here in this ballgame.
So kind of what I was going back to earlier. They're ranked 16 in the nation, so obviously they're really good. No doubt. But they played really well against Georgia Tech and really well against Ole Miss when you consider that Ole Miss is also in the SEC. And I don't really see where they can't win this game. This is a team offensively that's really good. I think Georgia Tech, in the games that they played, they took advantage of the spots that Arkansas State kind of was weak in that area. And they just took advantage of that, I guess, in the sense. But like I said, there isn't really much I can say besides I think they can beat this team. This team was the regular season champs for the Sun Belt. Was just short of the tournament. This team's good.
Yeah.
I think they can do it.
We can definitely keep up with the big dogs there. Now, let's move on to probably what we've been waiting on to talk about for the whole show. Very anticipated matchup between the Arkansas State Red Wolves and the Arkansas Razorbacks. For the first time in history that these two teams have matched up. And we'll be doing it at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock. So central part of the state, it's about, 3 to 4 hour drive from just about every other part of the state. So, lots of people can come. It's not, a stretch to go up to Fayetteville or Jonesboro if you live in the southern part of the state. Lots of people can come to this game. Very anticipated matchup. I'm honestly not sure what to expect out of this one.
I will say, unfortunately, it is at War Memorial Stadium. I'm not a fan by any means. I don't think anybody is. I know Arkansas isn't. I know A-State isn't. Parking's going to be awful. But that doesn't matter about the game itself. We talked about it earlier. Offensively, this team looked great. Once again, as SEMO, can't expect much. They look good. I really appreciated how Jalen Rayner could stretch it down the field. He was making plays when you couldn't think there was going to be something happening. And then he took the small stuff if need be. I saw it quite a bit. We did a lot of bootlegs, especially to Tyler Fortenberry. I thought that was really effective. It converted on a huge third down, or it might have been a fourth down at the goal line. And offensively, I'm not worried. It's the defense. When you think SEC, you're thinking bigger and faster and better. And this team has a mix of really everything. The QB, Taylon Green, 6'6", and can run. He can throw it deep. He can do anything for you. He is one of the best QBs in the nation for college. There's no doubt about it. And then you talk about the running backs. They have 3 guys, 2 of them which are 6'1" or 6'2" and over 225 pounds. And as we saw against SEMO, that gave us a problem. And then the receivers, they played really well against Alabama A&M, but just like for us, it's Alabama A&M. What, you're kind of expecting this.
Right.
One of the things that I would like to note, they have a 30-year-old on that team. That is a grown man.
Former
grown
Miami
man.
Marlins outfielder, by the way. Yeah.
Athletic freak.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the offenses for both teams, they're both great. The QB battle is going to be insane. I loved this. Both QBs had a 75% completion percentage or better. They both played phenomenal through the air. Green with 6 touchdowns, Rayner with 3. I think he can make it more. He had 345 yards for Rayner and 322 for Green. They both played amazing. I can't stress that enough. So this is going to be one of the most exciting things to see this week is the duel between these 2 guys right here. And can both of the defenses step up at the end of the day? I think that's the real question because Arkansas had troubles in the first quarter. Ultimately, it didn't really matter in the long run. And then Arkansas State, well in the second and third quarter, but you got to start strong, you got to finish strong, and I can't say that they truly did.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. We're going to have to see how the defense for both of these teams stacks up. I'm anxious to see how well our offensive line holds up as well. We did very good against SEMO, but then against SEMO is FCS. This is an SEC school you're talking about. If our offensive line can hold their own against the defensive line of an SEC school, I think we have a very good shot at, placing in the top part of the Sun Belt this year. But one thing I really want to talk about, and this is just something that has bothered me because I've seen it all over social media, it's the amount of Arkansas fans that are writing this game off as a cupcake and are writing this game off as, oh, it doesn't matter, we don't need to worry about this game. Well, I've got news for you. This is the first time these schools have matched up in the history of this great state. These are the 2 biggest colleges in the state of Arkansas, and they are matching up for the first time ever because of some petty little rule that one of the colleges in the state had that wouldn't allow any of the other colleges to play it. I think this is great for the state. It's great for the history of the sport in the state of Arkansas. This is a phenomenal time to go down to Little Rock, even though we might be playing in War Memorial, and go see some history happen.
Well, I'm kind of speechless. That was a tangent and a half. Yeah, I do agree. I think that Arkansas, with the history that they have, with blowing games to random schools.
Like ULM.
This is not a random school. This is Arkansas State. We can compete. I kind of hate how the coach is going out with the media and showing that we don't want to play in Jonesboro. We don't want to do this. We want home. I get it. But you got to respect your opponents. I'm glad Butch does. I'll give him his flowers for that. He gave his credit to Arkansas. Let's not write this game off, okay? Well, we've seen you guys lose to random schools before. Like I said, this isn't a random school. This is Arkansas State. We just obliterated our opponent. We just played random schools, and let's not write this game off. This game is going to be fun to watch. That's all I really can say.
Very well said.
We don't appreciate us being written off.
No.
23.5 point underdogs.
Come on,
I don't
Really?
know about that. I don't know about that.
I mean, like you said, our offense looked really good against SEMO. Their offense also looked really good. I think we have a good chance to see a shootout here in this ball game. But, I guess that's just something we're going to have to wait and see because we've got Arkansas coming up, and then we play Iowa State here. on our home field.
It's a big stretch.
That's a top 20 opponent there in Iowa State. So, you know, we've got a big few weeks of football action going on here at Arkansas State.
We gotta make the world. We gotta put the world on notice.
Right. We gotta put Jonesboro on the map. We gotta do something about it.
They are not
The
as good as
disrespect will not be tolerated.
They are not.
No. Well, I think that just about does it here on Red Wolf Roundtable. Signing off, I'm Jacob Cater.
I'm Caton Marsh. Jalen Rader, masterclass this weekend. Book it.
Yes,
It's gonna
sir.
happen.
Jaquez Cross, I expect to see some fireworks this week. Thank you for watching Red Wolf Roundtable. Thank you for tuning in. So long.